In this matchup, we're going to see the destructive black deck versus the fast speed of the red deck. We're going to play as a black player, so let's see what they draw. Guess Verdict is a 2 mana, target player sacrifices a creature and loses 1 life, so some kill spell. A swamp, another swamp, another swamp. Phyrexian Broodling is a 3 mana, 2/2 that you can sacrifice another creature and put a +1/+1 counter on him so you can get bigger. Morbid Plunder, 3 mana, and you can return 2 creatures from your graveyard back to your hand. So there's some value. And the 7th card, a Black Cat, a 2 mana 1/1, but when it dies, the opponent has to discard a card at random. Alright, so 3 mana is pretty good, so we're going to definitely keep this hand. Alright. Red player is already drawn, and let's begin. Black will go first and play a swamp and pass the turn. Red draws, plays a mountain, and passes the turn. Black player draws, plays a swamp, and then plays Black Cat. Passes the turn. Red player draws, plays a mountain, and then passes the turn. Black player draws, plays a swamp, and the first thing they're going to do is attack with the Black Cat. The red player will simply take it and go down to 19. Then with their other 3 mana, they're going to play Phyrexian Broodling, the 2/2, and you can pay a mana and sacrifice another creature to give them a +1/+1. At the end of red player's turn, at the end of black player's turn, before red player begins, they're going to actually pay 2 mana and as an instant play Incinerate, deal 3 damage to a creature, killing the Phyrexian Broodling. Then red player starts, untaps, draws, plays a mountain, and now they're going to start doing some damage themselves. Red player will tap 3 mana and play Minotaur Skullcleaver. It's a 2/2 with haste, but it's a 4/2 the first turn it comes out. So it's a 4/2 for this turn, and yes, it will be swinging for 4 damage. There's that speed and direct damage of the red player. Alright, black didn't like that. Their turn. They draw another Guess Verdict. That's perfect. It's a kill spell. And they play another swamp. And at this point, they're going to kind of want to kill the red players. Black does not want to go head-to-head against red, just swinging back and forth by playing creatures, because they'll probably lose that battle. Red's going to deal more damage than black can deal. Plus, red has spells they can play to finish the black player off. So black instead is going to hold back their mana and hopefully play some kill spells to kill the red player. As a matter of fact, they're going to do one right now because they don't like that Minotaur Skullcleaver. So they're going to pay 2 mana, and target player, they'll play the Guess Verdict. Target player sacrifices a creature, so they will have to kill the Minotaur and lose 1 life. And they will also attack with a Black Cat for another damage. Alright, red player's turn. They draw, play a land, and they're going to try to do it again. Red player is going to pay 3 and play Minotaur Skullcleaver again and try to attack for 4 damage. However, this time the black player is ready with their kill spells. They're going to tap 2 mana and play another Guess Verdict. Target player sacrifices a creature, meaning the Minotaur will have to die before it deals any damage. And the red player loses 1 life. So that's what black wanted to see. Kill the creatures. Alright, it's now black player's turn. they will attack for 1 damage. Not much red can do about that. And then they will pay 3 mana to play for another Phyrexian Broodling. By the way, black drew an Undying Evil, which is an instant, and if one of your creatures dies, it comes back to life instantly with a +1/+1 counter on it. And you can only do that once. But it's pretty good for getting value out of your creatures. Alright, red's turn. Alright, red is going to play a mountain. And with 3 mana, they're going to play Fervent Cather. It's a 3 mana, 2/1 haste, but when it comes into play, target creature can't block this turn. They're going to say the Phyrexian Broodling cannot block this turn. They're also going to tap 2 mana and put Madcap Skills on it, which says +3/+0 and can only be blocked by 2 or more creatures. So it wouldn't be able to get blocked anyway. But most importantly, it makes this thing a 5/1. And it has haste and it attacks for 5 damage, knocking black player down to 11. Another big chunk. Alright. The black player is going to, it's now the black player's turn. They draw. They were hoping for a kill spell to kill that Fervent Cather. However, they did not draw a kill spell. Not that good. Alright, they're going to try a couple tricks here. Alright, so the black player has some options. They could do some tricks here with Black Cat, like sacrifice the Black Cat to the Phyrexian Broodling and then play Undying to bring the Black Cat back as a 2/2. That might not be a horrible idea. They do want to make sure that they have enough creatures to block this guy next turn. So they do want to make sure they have more creatures on the field. I think that's actually going to be the play they're going to do. So this is what black player is going to do. They're going to pay 1 mana for Phyrexian Broodling to sacrifice the Black Cat, and it puts a +1/+1 counter on Phyrexian Broodling. However, they're also going to pay another mana to play Undying Evil. That will bring the Black Cat back as a 2/2. Puts a +1/+1 counter on him. When Black Cat died, the red player has to discard a card at random. They'll discard this one. They lose, they lost a Fervent Cather, which is pretty good because that would have been coming at the black player next turn. With their other 2 mana, they're going to play Ravenous Rats. When it comes into play, target opponent chooses a card and discards it, which is the last card the red player had, which was a mountain. So you notice that the black player is really good at not only killing things on the board, but killing things that are in the opponent's hand before it even comes out. Black player can now attack with the Phyrexian Broodling. It can't attack with the Black Cat because it does have summoning sickness after coming back to life. The Phyrexian Broodling will deal 3 damage. Alright, it's now red player's turn. They untap. And the black player has the 2 creatures available to block this Cather. Alright. The red player does not want to slow down. They want to keep dealing damage. So they're going to go ahead and pay 3. They really would have liked to kill spell to kill one of those guys and not let that thing get blocked, but oh well. They're going to play Mentor Skullcleaver. It's that 4/2 with haste. And they're going to attack with both. They're just going to swing away. So the black player has 2 blockers. They could either block and kill the Minotaur and keep one of their guys, or they can double up and block this and lose both guys. They don't want to lose both guys right now, so they're just gonna put the black cat in front of the Minotaur Skull Cleaver, killing it, and killing the black cat, and take 5 damage from the Fervent Cather. Uh-oh, black's down to 6. They might have to play a little more defensively. Like I said, you don't want to always try to go tick for tack with this red deck. Alright, it's black's turn. They draw. They play a Swamp. They're going to pay 3 mana to play Morbid Plunder. Return 2 creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. And they're going to go get the Phyrexian Broodling and the Black Cat. Then they're then going to use the other 2 mana to play Black Cat. Now the other Black Cat didn't get to kill anything from the red player's hand because they didn't have a hand. So unfortunately they usually want to get more value out of that, taking lots of cards from the other person's hand. Red is pretty good at getting rid of their whole hand though. Alright, so we're in the same situation as last turn, where do we want to swing with the Phyrexian Broodling for 3 damage? Well, we saw what happened last time when you swung with the Phyrexian Broodling. The red player came right back and dealt 5 damage. So this time instead we're going to hold back and try to get more blockers. Red player's turn. They draw and play a Mauled Flunky. Now they could attack again and it would kill. They could attack again for 5 damage. The red player doesn't necessarily want to just run into people because it wants to deal more damage. However, red player is usually more aggressive, so they're going to go ahead and attack for 5. In this case, they will get blocked by these 2 1/1s that will both die, yet the Fervent Cather also dies. Alright, it's now black player's turn. Play a Swamp. Play another Phyrexian Broodling. And again, they could attack for 3 here, but they're really afraid of something coming out and dealing lots of damage. They do have 1 blocker here, but if someone comes out with haste, it could overrun them. So they're going to stay back and block. Red player draws. They draw a Mountain. Not good for red player. It's now black player's turn. So maybe it wasn't the best to not attack, but still a safer play. Another Swamp. Again, black player could go for it and try to attack for 5 damage here, but they'd be left pretty vulnerable for the swing back. So they're going to stay back and block. Red player draws. They do not play their card. So black again is a little frustrated. Maybe they could have already won, but it's too risky to swing for only 5 damage when the red player could swing for 6 damage next turn. Alright, so the black player is going to go ahead and play another creature. Phyrexian Rager. It does make their life go down to 5, which they don't like, but they have to draw another card. And maybe they're finally starting to feel like they can attack and have blockers as well. Alright, the black player doesn't like that the red player has a card in their hand and didn't play. They don't know what it is, but they don't care. They're going to get rid of it. They're going to get rid of it by playing 1 Swamp to play Goal Caller's Chant. It lets you return a creature from the graveyard to your hand, or 2 zombies from the graveyard to your hand. So let's go look at the graveyard. Unfortunately, there's not 2 zombies in here, but there is a Ravenous Rat that they will go get. Then they will pay 2 mana to play the Ravenous Rat, which makes the opponent discard a card, and they will discard their only card, which was a Fling, which lets you discard a card and fling it at someone. Not wanting the opponent to be able to the red's going to go on a last different effort here. They want to actually use the fling. So in response to that, they're actually going to go ahead and play the fling. 2 mana to play the fling because it is an instant, and fling the Mauled Flunky at the opponent, dealing it 3 damage, taking it down to 2. The red player is going all out here, hoping to draw a kill spell to deal the last 2 damage. Alright, black now is not really afraid of any attackers, and it has plenty of blockers that it has to go for the kill here. It's going to attack for 5 damage, taking red down to 7. Alright, it's now red player's turn. Let's see, are they going to draw a kill spell? They draw... Ooh, they draw a 1/1 goblin, which is usually good in the beginning of the game, not very good right now, because they can attack, but the black player has blockers, which means it's now black player's turn, and they simply will swing for the win. Yeah, they draw a terror, so they're actually going to go ahead and kill that raging goblin, and then attack for lethal damage. Alright, so there was a example of how black can beat the fast red deck. There might have been times when you thought black should have attacked earlier, but it was just too risky with what red could bring. Instead, they played a safer route, they built up their defense, and once their defense was good, they outvalued them with cards like Gold Caller's Chant and Morbid Plunder, bringing cards back from the graveyard into the game, and beat the red player.